we are in the QBO gym, and this is where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Each month covers a variety of new topics and scenarios, and to make it a little bit easier for you, we break it down into 4 different sections. So if you are looking to work on your bookkeeping skills, this is the place for you. And if you want to do an entire month's worth of these all on your own, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. But let's dive into today's exercise, which is being pulled from our August Year 1 cardio section. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what is going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive pre-assessment quiz that relates to the video up above. Below that are all of the exercises in this section. And at the bottom here is an optional area where after you have completed all of the exercises in this section, you will unlock some sample marketing posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everyone what you have learned so far. Let's get started with today's exercise where we are going to practice invoicing and making payments specifically for Red Rock Diner. Go ahead and click on that link to have the exercise pulled up for you. I have it here on the right side of my screen, so let's read through our scenario. As you know, Craig just completed an installation job at Red Rock Diner. He asks you to invoice Red Rock Diner for the installation of 10 mums plus the other assorted plants he purchased at Tanya's, 1 bag of soil, and 2 hours of labor at $60 an hour. He also asks you to make a $100 payment to Sam Smith, who Craig hired as casual labor to help with this job. You will need to be in the same session of the sample company that you did the previous exercises in. If you have not completed those yet, go ahead and click on the link on the top right corner of your screen. That'll take you to the first exercise. Complete that one and all the ones after it until you get back to this one. They all build on each other, so it's really important you start with that first one. I have this sample company pulled up here on the left side of my screen, the last page that I left off of from the previous exercise. So let's get started with this exercise and creating that invoice. In the shortcuts box on the dashboard, you would click on Create Invoice. Now for here, because I'm on this page, I'm going to instead click on the plus new button and then select Invoice. Because by doing that, rather than having to go to the dashboard and doing that shortcuts, which is really great to do if you do have it the dashboard open, since we are still continuing on from the last exercise, we want to do that plus new button and then select Invoice. So in the customer field, we want to select Red Rock Diner. So click the down arrow and you can either scroll or you can type in their name. Once you find it, go ahead and select it. And when you do, their information is going to show up for you. And you will also notice that as soon as we selected their name, that QBO shows that the billable expense we created in the warm-up exercise when Craig purchased the plants from Tanya's, specifically for this job, is showing up here. So we want to add it by clicking on Add. And what this does is it moves it directly here to the invoice, just one less step that we have to do. Now you'll notice that there is no product service associated with the plants from the billable expense right here. This is blank. Now this is because you use the category grid, not the item details grid, for the assorted plants purchased from Tanya's. Whenever you make a category grid item billable, it's important to include this description here. Otherwise, when you go to bill the item, you're not going to know what it's for. So it's fine if you use that category grid for the item that needs to be billed, but just make sure it's super important that you have a description associated with it when you create the expense from like what we did in the previous exercise. So on this second row, we want to add mums. In that product service field, let's go ahead and select it. So scroll down here, click in the product service field. You can either scroll and find it, or you can do what I'm doing, which is just typing in mums to have it show up for us. Now, if you remember from the scenario, it was a total of 10 mums. So update that there in the quantity field to be 10. If you hit the tab key over, you will see that QBO updates the calculation here for the amount for 10 times 15 equals $150. On the third row, we need to add that bag of soil. So let's go ahead and click into that product service field. I believe that's towards the top. Nope, it's not towards the top. I thought that one was towards the top. You can go ahead and either scroll or type in the name. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it. Now the quantity should be 1 here. Double check that it's showing that way because that is what he is invoicing for, that 1 bag of soil. And finally, those hours he is going to, that he had hired Sam Smith for, those extra hours to help with this project, we need to invoice it here as well. So on the fourth line in the product service field, let's select hours, click into it. You can, again, either scroll or type. I feel like typing is just a lot easier, but again, it's a personal preference. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it. And then the number of hours was 2. So click into that and do 2. And if you will remember, the rate was 60. And so we need to update that right here. Click on or type in 60 in the rate field. When you hit the tab key, it has updated. And now all the calculations are there and everything that we needed to add to this invoice is there. Now, you would normally send this to Red Rock Diner, but since you can't actually send invoices in the sample company, we're just going to save and close. So to save and send, you would click this down arrow and then select save and send. We can't actually send it, so let's just go ahead and save and close and pretend that we actually did send it to Red Rock Diner. And so that one is all done. Let's move on to, now that we've invoiced the job, let's go ahead and pay the laborer who did the work. So from the left navigation bar, we want to hover over expenses and then select vendors. So over here, if you still have this pop up here, go ahead and click out of it. From the left navigation bar, like I said, we're going to hover over expenses and then select vendors. Now we're going to add him as a new vendor here. So click on that new vendor button right there. And then in the display field name, we're going to type Sam Smith. So Sam Smith. We're going to scroll to the additional info section. We're going to leave the social security number field blank for now. So scroll down until we get to the additional information. It's towards the bottom here. We're going to click on the checkbox next to track payments for 1099. If you end up paying Sam Smith more than a given amount, currently it's $600, then you would need to issue a 1099 at the end of the year. It may change over time, but right now, currently, as I'm recording this video, it is $600. That's the threshold. In the billable rate field, we're going to type 60. This is the rate you charge customers for Sam's time, not how much Craig is actually paying him. So click into that billable rate. Go ahead and type 60. In the default expenses rates field, we want to select installation. When you pay Sam, this is a category that will automatically be selected on the expense form. So this one right here, it's under accounting. You want to click into this, and then we want to look for installation. I'm actually just going to type it in there because it's just easier to find it. So once you do, go ahead and click on it. There are no prior amounts owing to Sam, so you can leave the open balance field blank, which is this one right here. So we're just going to click on save. Click on the green save button. And now he has been saved now as a vendor. Let's go back to that vendor list. So click on vendors here at the top. And then we're going to scroll down to find Sam Smith. And then next to create bill, click on the down arrow. So scroll, it's in alphabetical order, so it'll be towards the bottom here. Here is his name right there. Once you find it, click on the down arrow next to create bill and then select write check. Now, Craig told you that he paid Sam using check number 1120. So in the check number field, let's go ahead and replace what is currently there, which is that 71, and make sure that it says 1120. Now, as a quick note here, this payment date is going to default to today, which is perfectly fine for this exercise, but just make sure that whatever date this payment is actually being made is reflected here in this field. It's so important when you are doing client books to make sure that the dates are properly matching. Now you'll note that job expenses, cost, and labor installation is already filled in as the category here. And that is because that is what we entered in Sam's vendor record. So we don't need to do anything right here. We just want to add in the description field, planting of assorted plants and mums. So click into that description field and then go ahead and type that. Planting of assorted plants and mums. And then we want to, in the amount field, type 100 because that's how much he is paying him. So type 100. And then we want to have in the customer field selecting Red Rock Diner so that we identify what this is for, who this was for. So click into that down arrow. You can type or you can scroll down to find them. Once you do, go ahead and click on their name. And now this check is transaction has been created. And the check, would be written separately or it would be printed, just depending on how Craig would prefer to do it. But this transaction is good as it is, so we can go ahead and click on the green Save and Close button. And now that transaction has been saved. And that is it. That is how you would create the invoice and make payment. Now, if you like this exercise and you'd like to do more like it, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. We're going to continue on in the cardio section. So if you want to join, be sure to leave this session of the sample company open, as you will need it for the next exercise where we practice recording a bank deposit. And I will see you in the next video.